since it is the biggest news with this one. Yeah. Let's see. All right, the Detroit Lions. Of course, usually we start these off with looking at what they did last season. We'll get into that next because the Lions actually had some interesting stuff happen to them in the offseason, which is not good if you're a Lions fan. There have been a lot more people or players, I guess, getting suspended this season for gambling on sports as gambling becomes more and more popular throughout the country and more like easier. More states are approving it more easier to place bets. You can do it from your phone in a lot of states. And so you can bet on anything, daily fantasy, all that kind of stuff, or just betting on games in general. We saw God, what's his name? That went to the Jaguars. Calvin Ridley, yes. He got suspended all of last year for gambling. So he was that was the first kind of big suspension from sports gambling. And his was just from like some parlays that he did, and it was none of the games that he wasn't even playing. It wasn't even his team. He just had a couple fun I think it was $25 parlays just for the hell of it. Didn't win them either.
Oh yeah, all he did was donate to the sports books. It's like, come on, man. These guys are playing a $25 parlay. It's not going to affect the way they play the game. Give me a break.
Which my position, I mean, we talked it. We went into lengths about this on another stream, and we'll probably do it in another stream going forward. But my thing is, listen, if they're not betting or if they're not betting against their team, I don't care that the players bet or bet on other sports or bet in general. I think the sports book will regulate it just fine. These guys aren't going to be able to make millions and millions of dollars off doing this stuff because the sports books aren't going to allow it. So I think it's silly that they get suspended at all, especially I think it's hypocritical when the NFL is making all this money with these sports books. So the NFL gets to make money off of it, but the players can't. Seems a little hypocritical to me. But nevertheless, there is rules. And one of the big things this offseason, all these players are saying, we did not understand the actual gambling policy. Because like some of these guys that got suspended, they were gambling and it wasn't even on the NFL. They were gambling on baseball or other sports, but they did it on the team facility, which I guess you're not allowed to do in the NFL. They did it from their phones in the parking lot. So they didn't really think they were actually on the team facility, but technically they still were, and they're getting suspended. So it's kind of silly. So the NFL has done this big, huge revamp with all the rookies coming in and with former players this offseason, reiterating the policy, making sure everyone understands the policy so they don't have this happen in the future. Of course, we will have it happen in the future, but one of the things that we see from this is, I mean, these guys aren't your superstars. There's a couple of big name guys in here, but it's not like a Patrick Mahomes is getting suspended.
Jameson Williams, though.
First round. That's what I'm saying. Jameson, I'm saying there's a couple of big names guys, but we're not talking your star quarterbacks getting suspended for a year. I think if that happened, if Mahomes, let's say Patrick Mahomes did ever get caught doing that, they would change their policy real quick. He would not be gone for a year. Then they would look like huge hypocrites, and Calvin Ridley would have a few words to say if Mahomes got slapped with a 2-gamer or something like that. You know what I mean?
And we've talked about that. They've kind of set a tough precedent right now, suspending these guys. They went big right off the rip. 6 games, it's like Petit Frere for the Titans. Man, you talked about a minute ago, he wasn't even betting on football. He put in some other sports bets, I think baseball, stuff like that. And it wound up being, he did it like in the parking lot or something, but I'm pretty sure if I read this correctly, you can't, like if you're on a road trip out west or something, let's say East Coast team out west, some of those teams wind up staying for a whole week and stuff like that. But from what I understand, even if you're on a road trip with the team, that's considered like a business, like within the franchise, like just like your team facilities. So I'm like, you're telling me if I'm at dinner, obviously these guys don't all go out to dinner every single night together, So like if I'm with 3 or 4 of my buddies and I want to put in a baseball bet or an NBA finals bet or whatever, you wouldn't have to worry about that in football. But if I want to do that, why can't I do that?
I don't get it. either. But
man,
also,
like
these players are kind of done.
Can't even bet on anything.
Like I said, it's hypocritical for the NFL because they're taking all this money from these sports books. But if you're a player, just use an offshore account. Use Bet Online. It's offshore. It's going to be harder for them to track. Don't use your real name. I know, but like if you really, really want to do it and you don't want to risk your career, but you want to bet and have some fun, just do it on an offshore account. Don't use your real name, right? Set up a fake email to sign up.
They know it's y'all, man. I'm serious. Like,
a lot of these, the NFL came out and said a lot of these guys are using their real names. I'm like, you're stupid.
And when you do that, when you're part of like a big association like this or something, you get tagged on those every time. They know who you are when you get put in. And if
But
any
that's
of
the
those
thing.
guys,
That's why I said if Patrick Mahomes walked into the MGM and wanted to place $1 million bet against the Chiefs 1 week, it's not going to go through because the sportsbook are going to be like, no, sir. That's what I'm saying. They're going to regulate this stuff. They have divisions for these things. Like, if anything, the NFL is so big and so is the gambling world that they can work with these casinos and say, hey, we're going to allow our players to bet. Here's the rules. They can't bet against themselves. You guys have a special pool where these players go to and they like have a contact person if they want to place bets. You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's
like
going to be we're still in the
easy
infancy of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to be a trial and error period. It is. There's going to be things that they get right. There's going to be things they get wrong. They're going to have to tweak it as each year goes by and these continue to get bigger and bigger. Because let's be honest, sports betting isn't going anywhere. It's only going to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're already looking at such a huge growth in the last 5 years of states that have made legal betting jurisdictions. That's only going to grow, man. You see the revenue that these state economies and stuff are building off this stuff. It's gonna get bigger. So they have to figure out a way to police it and prevent stuff like this from happening, man. And I don't even care if you bet on your team, as long as you bet on your team to win, or players on your team. If you're betting on your homie to go off, I don't like. It's a little finicky. You start betting like unders on individual player props and stuff. But if you want to bet the overs on everything or bet on your team to win, I don't have a problem.
Bet on yourself. You say I'm getting 100 yards today. Okay,
absolutely.
Do it.
Like
guess what? The sports book doesn't have to bet it either. You know, like they don't have to accept the book. And like Patriot 4165 is saying, sports books are very in tune with their clientele. Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're throwing $20 bets out there, they're probably not going to care what you're doing, right? If you're coming in with tens of thousands, you know, you start tens of thousands of dollars, and they're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to pay a little bit more attention to this. Why are we bringing this up though when we're talking about the Lions? That's because the Lions have 5 players. Count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. I think they might even have more since this article came out. Suspended, but this came out in April. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports that the league suspended Lions receivers Jameson Williams, Quintez Cephas, Stanley Berryhill, and safety CJ Moore, and Washington Commanders defensive end Shaka Toney. Okay, I guess 4 Lions players. I think they're 5 now though. But anyways, a league review uncovered no evidence indicating any inside information was used for any game, or that any game was compromised in any way. Once again, these guys are just betting, having fun, and most of these guys were betting on baseball, I believe, or college football. The gambling policy prohibits anyone in the NFL from engaging in any form of gambling in any club or league facility or venue, including the practice field. Some of these guys were doing it from the practice field because they were just like after practice, they were just placing some bets on their phones, you know. Like
that's pushing a little bit, guys. Why you got your cell phone on the practice field anyway?
Because they're NFL athletes; they can do whatever the hell they want. As a result of the NFL investigation, it came to our attention that a few of our players had violated the league's gambling policy. These players exhibited decision making that is not consistent with our organizational values and violates league rules. We have made a decision to part ways with Quintez and CJ immediately. That's because they weren't going to make the team anyways. We are disappointed by the decision making demonstrated by Stanley and Jameson getting slapped with a 6-game suspension, and we'll work with both players to ensure they understand the severity of these violations and have clarity in the league's bottom line is. And there's Calvin Ridley that we talked about. These guys, we're starting to see more and more players get caught gambling. And I think it's both of our opinions, not to put words in your mouth, that the league is setting a very high bar, a dangerous precedent, because they are they're over punishing like they seem to tend to do. And I think it's going to backfire in their face. But nevertheless, we are having players get affected by this. So the Lions are going to be without one of their star first round draft pick from last year, wide receiver. They're going to miss him for 6 games.
And he was out most of last year recovering that torn ACL, but still going to miss him for 6 games. And I'm pretty sure even Stanley Berryhill there, I'm pretty sure even he has been cut since the line. This article, look, you see April 21st there, so it's been a couple months.
So he's been cut too?
I believe so. I believe 3 of those. The only one they kept, I'm pretty sure, is Jameson Williams. And that's shitty, man. If these guys are betting on baseball and they lost their job over this, you tell me, I mean, nobody else getting fired. Like, I mean, my job is to sports bet, but it's like, most people, you ain't getting fired from your job for sports betting. There's a real gray area here for me, man. I have a problem with a lot of this stuff. Like you said, just because the NFL is making billions off of this shit, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. You got 3 guys that are unemployed right now. Probably not going to get a shot with their team, at least while their suspensions are going on. You know, and
thank God that the Arena Football League is coming back this next season.
Yeah, that don't pay real well.
pay something. Okay.
You're right. It does pay something.
Okay. So I'm sitting here wondering why everyone's so high on the Lions this year. A big part of the reason why they're high on the Lions is how they ended last season. So the beginning of the season, their record doesn't look great. They start off 1-6, but you look at this, they're in a lot of these games. 38-35 loss to the Super Bowl contenders, the Eagles, to start the season off.
Yeah, bro.
Then they defeat the Commandos 36-27. Close loss with Minnesota 28-24. Really close loss with Seattle. That was a fun game, 48-45. Got their ass whipped by my Patriots, of course, 29-0. Got their ass kicked by Dallas after the bye, and then another close loss to Miami. So 1-6 start, but they were able to turn it around after that. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They went 8-2 down the stretch. Impressive wins. I guess a couple impressive wins in there.
I mean, you look at Jacksonville, playoff team, Minnesota playoff team.
True.
Jets had a shot at the playoffs right there. The one they should have lost, that's kind of an anomaly there. That Carolina game, Carolina was not playing great at that point, and to see them lose that, beating those other teams there. But you look at those first 6 losses, man. 4 of those first 6 losses were by combined 14 points. So they're right there in the mix with this thing.
Yeah, and a little monkey off their shoulder. They ended up beating Green Bay twice during that stretch too, which was huge.
Big time for them.
Yeah.
They actually beat Green Bay. They actually kept Green Bay out of the playoffs, winning that last one.
So and ultimately they're the reason why Rodgers is now New York Jets. So you can thank the Lions, Jets fans.
Right.
All right, so let's get into their draft, Cricket, because what they ended up doing,
man,
shocked me. Their first pick shocked me.
It shocks me, but I don't hate it. I don't. I've seen.
I kind of do.
I don't, man. I don't, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But this.
Yeah, here you get into the draft, and after you talk about Gibbs for this first pick, I will give you the reason why I didn't like it.
Okay. Well, I got to see Jahmyr Gibbs last year up in Knoxville when my Vols ended the streak against the Tide. But I got to watch Jahmyr Gibbs, man, and he is like an Alvin Kamara clone. Looks just like this guy. Looked the exact same way Alvin Kamara did, standing on the sidelines up there years ago. But this guy is an elite talent in so many different aspects of the game. He can return kicks and punts. He can catch balls out of the backfield. He creates good space, man. Got very, very shifty. Got good breakaway speed. He's got it all, man. He's not a big guy, but he does a lot like Alvin Kamara does. Does a real good job of not getting hit hard. If you'll notice Alvin Kamara, when he's dancing around out there and stuff, a lot of times he does a real good job of not taking the big hit. Jahmyr Gibbs is very similar, which usually in turn means more time on the field. I know that's a little high for this guy. Even he was surprised, man. When he got drafted, he was like, well, I didn't expect to go this high. I thought I'd go in the first round, but this guy
was supposed to go like around pick 30.
Yeah, exactly. He thought he would be back into the first round. So they see something they like right here. And I'll be honest, this is probably my favorite this year to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Here's why I don't like this pick. This guy was projected to go down. No one was going to take him until you could have came up into the bottom of the first round and got this guy. But they came out and said they think Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Bijan Robinson, which if that's what you believe, okay. I fundamentally disagree strongly with that, but you're taking the risk on it. But they had a chance because remember, they were up in the first round. They were, what was it, pick 7 or 8 or something like that? 7, I think it was.
But right around that, yeah.
They were 6 or 7. They were right up there. So they had their choice to take Bijan Robinson. They could have taken Bijan Robinson. If they really wanted a running back, they didn't go take Bijan. They traded back, of course, got an extra pick, and they ended up taking Jahmyr Gibbs because, like I said, they think Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Bijan, which I think you're crazy because Bijan, yes, okay, Gibbs might look like Alvin Kamara, cool. Robinson is like Christian McCaffrey. It's rumored out there to believe that Christian McCaffrey has said he grew up idolizing Bijan Robinson and imitated his game after Bijan Robinson. That's how good Bijan Robinson is. I know if you think about that, that doesn't make any sense, but that's my point. This is a joke. Bijan Robinson could be the next Christian McCaffrey out there, man. And that is a guy in today's NFL that you want, especially on a rookie contract, especially up in Detroit. And like the Matt Chatter saying, this Lions offensive line is insane. It's really, really good. One of the top in the league. So you could put a guy out there with the skill set of Bijan Robinson, and they passed on him. Man, I was just like, only to get like, it's one thing to pass on him because you want to get some extra picks and you're going to go a different position, but to go running back, I was like, damn, I don't know, but maybe, hey, Jahmyr Gibbs, prove me wrong. Okay.
I like this guy. I think he's going to fit in well, man. He's another guy like DeAndre Swift that can get in there and fit in this offense really well, catching balls out of the backfield. So I like this pick right here.
That's right, Matt Chatter. Barry Sanders' hero was Bijan Robinson growing up. That's right. Matt Chatter gets it.
Hey, that's the way they're building him up, man. They're already expecting this guy to just walk into the Hall of Fame. He ain't played it down yet.
You don't need to. How you see him at Texas?
We'll see. I might. Okay. Who has a better season, Bijan or Jahmyr?
Probably Bijan, right?
Ooh, I might smell a side bet. I love a good side bet.
Oh, dude, I get nervous though because those Alabama running backs. You never know. They put up some good numbers.
You never know, man. You never.
It depends
know.
what we define by good. Are we talking about rushing or are we talking about total yards?
We'll probably. I mean, Bijan catches balls out of the backfield too, so we'd probably have to do total yards, man. We'd have to do total, saying. All purpose.
Bijan's like, yeah, all purpose.
Yeah, dude.
Anyways,
Gibbs, when he was at Georgia Tech, became the first player in ACC history. He made the all-conference team on the first, second, and third team. I think he made like a kick returner on the third team, maybe a punt. He was on all three all-conference teams 2 years ago before he transferred to Alabama. That's when I first heard about this guy, and I was like, this guy's a freak. How do you do something like that? I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm expecting big things out of him, and we might have to come up with a side bet on the all-purpose yards for him and Bijan Robinson, just to have a little sweat for our viewers out there. But let's move on in this draft, man. They had another first-round pick. I like this pick. Jack Campbell, the inside linebacker out of Iowa, was number 2 overall ranked inside linebacker, had a grade of 80. I like Jack Campbell, man. He is a hard-nosed linebacker, been playing on a good defense for some years. I think this guy's going to step in, play right away, get some valuable minutes for this team early on. Then moving on to the second round, with the third pick in the second round, they take another Iowa Hawkeye, Sam Laporta, the big tight end. We know how those tight ends from Iowa wind up, man, a.k.a. George Kittle. So them Iowa tight ends have a tendency to translate to the NFL very, very well. I like Sam Laporta right here. Think he's going to step in and play some early on. Then we go to the 14th pick in the second round, Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama, the number 1 overall ranked safety. Got a grade of 88. I think this is a lot of value right here. I never expected this guy to really still be available right here. I think they got a lot of value with the 14th pick in the second round with Brian Branch, and he is going to be a good player in this league for a while. And then
I like that pick too. That was a good pick.
Yeah, I liked it. Then the 5th pick in the third round, my guy, Hendon Hooker, QB for my Balls last year, had an incredible season until going down with that ACL in that dreadful South Carolina game late in the year. But I think Hendon Hooker is going to bounce back, a guy that's dealt with a lot of adversity throughout his college career, transferring from Virginia Tech down to Tennessee, and has dealt with a lot of things throughout his career, and I like this guy's resiliency. I love Hendon Hooker. Think he's going to bounce back. Don't know how much opportunity he's going to get, man. It's a different style. His offensive style doesn't translate to the NFL as well, but I'm hoping – I've seen him be able to make something out of nothing before, so I hope he has a big year, or at least gets a chance to play a little bit. 33rd pick in the third round, Broderick Martin, Western Kentucky defensive tackle. Don't know a lot about Broderick.
Big boy.
He is a big old boy, ain't he? What was he at? 6'5", 337? That's a big old boy. You ain't lying. Don't know a whole lot about him, but they see something they like, man. Took him pretty high. And the 18th pick in the 5th round, Colby Sorsdal, William and Mary offensive tackle. Once again, don't know a whole lot about him. But their last pick with the 2nd pick in the 7th round, Antoine Green, wide receiver from North Carolina. This guy's been catching some passes from Drake May down there. Could be more of a possession type receiver, but I like this pick. I think this is one that could wind up being get some sneaky value out of this in the later rounds. So I have to see what Antoine Green does, but I'm intrigued by that pick. All in all, it's one of those drafts that got very mixed reviews. Some people hate it.
Bijan Robinson played 12 games this last season. Jahmyr Gibbs played 12 games this last season. Gibbs, 151 attempts, 926 rush yards versus Bijan Robinson, 258 attempts, 1,580 rush yards. So more attempts, but more yards there. Average. So let's see. Does it give me the average? It doesn't give me the average on Bijan. Gibbs averaging over 6.1 yards per carry, 7 total touchdowns rushing for him. We had 18 rushing touchdowns for Bijan. Gibbs had 44 catches for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last season, Bijan had 19 catches for 314 yards and 2 touchdowns. So,
hey, what did they do in the game they played each other last year? Can you pull that up and see what they did against each other? It was week 2 or 3 of last year. Alabama wound up getting them late, 20-19 in that game down in Austin. But I'm just curious what they did in the head-to-head.
Oh yeah, that was a game where what's his name? If he didn't get hurt, they probably win that one.
Yeah, Quinn Ayers. Yeah, Quinn Ayers went down playing pretty well.
Yeah, dude, he was playing lights out.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Bryce Young led that late drive and did what he does. Yeah, I was just curious what they did in head-to-head. But also, Bijan, I mean, those stats, I'll be honest, Bijan played a little bit lighter schedule than Alabama had to play. Just proofs in the pudding. When you talk about the Big 12 versus the SEC and what you have to play throughout that, unless obviously they played each other, which, solid game on both sides there. But I don't know. I like Jahmyr Gibbs, man. I'm not completely I know Bijan Robinson is a stud and going to be a good running back in this league, but I'm just not sold on putting the man in Kenton before he even steps on the field.
I am.
He said, I am. I'm buying.
Dude, well, give me the. I'm trying to find the stats, man. Like I got the game board.
It ain't that big a deal, man.
No, it is. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Now we gotta know.
I gotta know. Let's see. Man, I know. Okay, if what I can tell so far, Gibbs did lead the game in receiving with 74 yards. So there's that. No, I don't want the Longhorn. I want the game. Okay, we're gonna search it this way.
Alabama. Either way, man. This could be an intriguing little running back battle to monitor in the coming years. Do they play each other this year? I don't know.
They do.
Do they?
Alabama
okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, we might have to side bet on that one too, man.
So Gibbs wasn't even the main running back for Alabama, so that kind of hurts his numbers too. Because McClellan was the main one for rushing, but Bijan had 21 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown for rushing. But Gibbs had 9 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. So I mean, it was 2 different styles.
Yeah, and in a game like that with 2 big-time programs like that, you're going to be keying on. And that was early on in the year for Alabama. Jahmyr Gibbs was still adjusting into that offense, only the second or third game of the year, I believe. So he wound up getting a lot more volume as the season went on.
Indeed. All right, here's some of the guys they signed. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Graham Glasgow, Marvin Jones Jr.
I don't hate that.
Jake McQuaid, David Montgomery, Emmanuel Mosley, Jalen Reeves, Mabin, and Cameron Sutton. So I see why people are kind of
there's one of my favorite balls. One of my favorite balls of all time, man. Jalen Reeves, Mabin.
There you go. And they re-signed some of their big boys here, and some. Let's see, anything stands out? No. Let's see. Who did they lose? They don't tell me who they lost. Damn it. Let's see if I can find it real quick. But I don't remember any big free agent signings. I know, didn't they extend Goff this year?
I believe they did. I'm not positive on that. Matt Chatter asked about how we feel about the receiving core. I think it's going to be very solid, man. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he is a freak.
And they just traded for Mims yesterday.
Got Marvin Jones Jr. signed there when Jameson Williams comes back. I think this is they got some weapons in this Detroit team, and I'm starting to be able to see a little bit more why Vegas might be so high on them, because they got some weapons. If they can get the same type of season out of Jared Goff that they got last year, this could be a competitive team, man.
Okay, so with Goff, they didn't extend him, but they could have cut him, and they decided to keep him around because it's a friendly deal.
Okay,
what I've seen.
Okay.
Good for him, though.
Man, I've never been real high on Jared Goff. I've even went as far as to call him a bum before, and I had to eat those words last year. That man played well, and I actually wound up finding myself being happy for him, even though he made me look like a fool. I'm happy for that man, dude. He's been through a lot in his NFL career, and it's good to see him on the right side of this thing for a little bit. I hope he has another big year. I really do.
So they lost. Here we go. They lost Jamal Williams. He signed with the Saints.
Yeah, touchdown man.
Mike Hughes, DJ Shark signed with Carolina. But they replaced a lot of their wide receivers. Evan Brown, Deshaun Elliott, Josh Woods. Yeah. Okay, nothing crazy there. Nothing crazy.
No earth changers or anything like that. How do you feel about that draft, man? I didn't get your opinion on that.
I thought it was a good draft. I really do. Other than I thought that they made a mistake. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad if they fully think that that's the best guy. I disagree with them, but I thought,
if he goes on to be in the Hall of Fame, man, they look like geniuses.
Well, and I think at the time also I didn't. I don't know, taking a running back that high too is kind of crazy, but I didn't.
I agree with that.
I didn't realize how good their offensive line was, because when they took a running back there at 12, I was like, do you know how many guys of these big boys that are left that are still good? Like, because it was a good offensive and defensive line draft for the first round at least. And I was like, man, you missed out here. But if they didn't need it, and it doesn't seem like they needed it because their offensive line pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, defensive side of the ball, you could always use some help there. So I thought even if trading back, I thought there was. I mean, they had the top. No, not the top cornerback. The second cornerback overall that the Patriots ended up getting, he was still there. So you could have got yourself another good corner, and then still end up with all that draft capital either at 18. They had 18, or they could have traded up into the 20s from another spot and taken Gibbs there. I thought, but I'm not an NFL GM.
That's fair. that guy may not be for a while.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, here's their season. Let's get into this season. Of course, they open up the season. Maybe this will be a good game, but I was not excited when I saw that it was Lions and Chiefs. Obviously, Chiefs, defending champs, get opened up. I wasn't excited, but I guess they're just hoping for fireworks here with two high offenses. I guess maybe I was hoping to be like some more star-studded names out there for this one.
I'll tell you what, though, it's going to blow your mind when the Lions come out and smack them boys in the mouth right out the gate.
Yeah, when Gibbs gets like 3 touchdowns and I'm playing against him in fantasy and he just wrecks me for talking shit about him. That's what's going to happen.
I hope you're playing me. That'd be great.
You taking Gibbs?
I'm thinking about hell. I might just take him first overall. No, better not do that. Do that if you hate money. But, hey, the line of this game, though, I'll tell you this. I like this line right now. I might have to jump on this one right now. Detroit Lions +7 at the Kansas City Chiefs. Lions +245 on the money line. Chiefs are -295. You gonna give them a whole touchdown? First game of the year? Everybody's gonna be hyped, man.
Remember, Kansas City does not cover games that often, but I do not want to fade Kansas City first game of the season. I will wait until after the first game. I'm not saying I'm going to take Kansas City. I'm just saying this might be a little stay away game for me. The total seems pretty high to me. I'm very sure last I saw it was like 54.5.
Oh,
I have to look at the under in that one.
Oh, bro. For the last 10 weeks of the season last year, I think I just kept piling on Lions unders, and they kept scoring like 70 points in every game. I just kept piling on them. I was like, they can't keep doing it, can they? And they did. They just kept.
I'm just thinking, it's going to be a standalone primetime game, first game of the season in Arrowhead. It's going to be loud. You got to, I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to come out a little rusty. I don't think it's going to just pick up right where they left off.
That's what I'm saying. I think a touchdown's a little much to be given right here for a team that Vegas seems to be. So it surprises me right there.
That's why I like. That's why I like
maybe
the
more 3 or 3.5, 4, something like that. Maybe. Mm-hmm. But 7, that's a lot. A touchdown in an NFL game, that's a lot.
Okay, and then in week 2, they're hosting Seattle. I gotta think Detroit 3-point favorite against Seattle in this one.
Detroit -2.5 at home against the Seahawks, -140 on the money line. The Seahawks are +120.
Gotcha. Okay, and then they're going to be hosting Atlanta, 4.5-point favorite against the Falcons there.
Lions -5 at home against the Falcons, -210 on the money line. Dirty Birds are +180.
God, I'm a half point off both those so far. Damn. Close. Green Bay at Green Bay. Man, oh man. I know they're low on 3-point favorite at Green Bay. That seems high.
Lions -1.5 at the Packers, -120 on the money line. Packers are even money.
I'm like, when I say that seems high, I was guessing that because of how high they are on the Lions, but it's also Green Bay in Green Bay on the road. But -1.5 feels right to me. Carolina hosting Carolina after that. I'd say 6-point favorite against Carolina.
Lions -5 at home against the Panthers, -210 on the money line. Panthers are +180.
At Tampa Bay, Lions 2.5-point favorite at Tampa Bay.
Lions -3.5 at the Bucks, -180 on the money line. Bucks +155.
No one has any faith in your Bucks.
Hey, including me. I'm just saying. I know. Go ahead.
At Baltimore 2-point favorite in this one.
Lions +3 at the Ravens, +130 on the money line. Ravens are -150.
Okay. And then home against the Raiders on Monday Night Football, 2.5-point favorite there.
Lions -4.5 at home against the Raiders, -200 on the money line. Raiders are +170.
I'm really not liking the Raiders this year. Damn. And then they got a nice bye week 9 bye week. Then they go down to the Chargers. Is this one around pick 'em? Let's say Chargers -1.
Lions +2.5 at the Chargers. You can actually get that +2.5 at even money right now. Lions are +125 on the money line. Chargers -145.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Home against the Bears. Justin Fields and the Bears coming to town. Lions 3.5-point favorite in that one.
Lions -5 at home against the Bears. -215 on the money line. Bears are +185.
All right. And then the home against the Packers. So if they're 1-point favorite, 1.5-point favorite on the road against the Packers, you flip it. Lions -3.5.
Lions -4. You're all over these things. Just a little bit off. Lions -4 at home against the Packers. -190 on the money line. Packers are +160.
Okay. And then let's see. At the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. Saints 1-point favorite in this one.
Absolutely. You got one. Lions +1 at the Saints. Both teams are -110 on the money line.
I love it. Then at Chicago, Lions 1.5-point favorites at Chicago.
Don't call it a streak, ladies and gentlemen. Lions -1.5 at the Bears, -125 on the money line. Bears are +105. He got it going on.
Man, I wish. God, I need the clip. I need the clip of Talladega Nights. I'm the best there is.
Wake up and piss excellent.
You don't chew Big Red. Fuck you.
I'm all hyped up on Mountain Dew.
I need that one though. I'm gonna clip that one out because that would have been great to play right there. I'm the best there is. I wake up in the morning, piss excellence.
Oh, and you can follow it shortly up later by the Tiger King.
Yeah, and then it'll do the SpongeBob. 2 minutes later.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
Short-lived, baby, short-lived.
Oh, gotta love it.
Okay, so what was that? We just did Chicago, right?
The Broncos.
Home against the Broncos, man. I think this line's going to be off. I think the Broncos are going to be better than people think. But I think right now, preseason, Lions 3.5-point favorites against the Broncos.
Oh, you missed that one, sir. Lions -2 at home against the Broncos. -130 on the money line. Broncos +110.
At Minnesota, pick 'em.
Lions actually getting a point at the Vikings, -105 on the money line. Vikings are -115.
And then what's this? They got Saturday, December 30th. Oh, this must be like the Sunday. Yeah, this is Saturday. Oh, yeah, the NFL does weird stuff at the end of the season where they play some Saturday games. So Saturday, December 30th at Dallas. Dallas 2.5-point favorite.
Lions +3.5 at the Cowboys, +150 on the money line. Cowboys are -175.
Matt Cheddar, I get up, I piss excellence. Dude, I mean, I need to clip that thing out. Then home against Minnesota. They're getting 1 point there. So Lions 2.5 against Minnesota.
Man, I feel like you always drill the last one. Lions -2.5 at home against the Vikes, -140 on the money line. Vikings are +120.
You know, just because I got that right, here's what we got to do.
You got some tickle bitties and you don't know how to swing? Well, I'm here to help you. Next, you want to tuck your right arm and lay your left arm on top of that mommy milker. Bombs away.
Ooh-wee.
Bombs away.
Bombs away. Okay, so let's get into. That's what their season looks like. What do you think about that schedule? What's break that down a little bit.
Let's see here. Let's dive in a little bit. Tough start. First two games, I mean, team, especially Seattle. Seattle's a squad that expect to be much better than they were last year. We're solid last year. Obviously, you got to come in and play the defending champs right out the rip. Atlanta, don't really know what we're going to get there. That's a decent little stretch between Atlanta and Tampa Bay there. Baltimore back up a little bit.
You should be able to rattle off 4 wins there, even if they start off 0-2.
They should. If they can get out of those first 6 at 4-2, I feel like that's a win for them.
You split the Baltimore Vegas, and you're looking at 5-3 going into your bye week. That's not bad.
Bye week at the Chargers. You're gonna get 2 against the Bears, 2 against Green Bay, 2 teams that are expected to be a little down. At the Saints, don't know what we're gonna get out of the Saints, but a lot of new faces on that team. Denver, you at least get them at home. You got to go to Dallas. It's not an easy schedule, man, but it should be easy enough to be able to pull this division out, I believe. I really do think the Lions wind up winning this division.
Jesus. 9.5 is their win total, and the over is juiced -140. They think the Lions are going to be a 10-win team?
Go back to that schedule. Pull that schedule back up. Let's just see. Let's see if we can get 10 out of it. Let's just say
5-3. We said 5-3.
5-3.
We said 5-3 going into the bye. At the Chargers, they're an underdog. They're probably going to lose that one.
We'll give them a W there.
Division with Chicago, I like to say 1-1. So we'll say 6, right? We'll go 1-1. Home against Green Bay, we'll give them a win there. So that's 7. They're underdogs at New Orleans. That's a tough game. That can go either way. Home against Denver is a tough game. Then you got to finish with Minnesota at the end of the season and Dallas.
At Dallas,
so that's saying, so what we were at 6. So we go 1. So let's see, 6, right? So 5-3. So we were 6, 7. So then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got to win 3 of those 5 games. And of those teams that they're playing, of those 3 of 5 games is Saints, Denver, Minnesota twice, and Dallas. That's not easy to win 3 of those 5.
That is not easy to win 3 of those 5, but I don't know. This is one I'll leave alone. The number's right where it's supposed to be.
They're good. Juice to the over. I mean,
they're good. They're good at their job, man. They're good at their job.
It's just weird looking at the Lions as a 10-win team. People thinking they're going to be a 10-win team.
I think if there is any value, I think you got to fade them to get any real value in this thing. I think it's too much of a up in the air deal on whether they. I think it's a lot of recency bias on how they finished that season last year down the stretch. So I got to see. I got to see what Jared Goff's going to give me, man. If he can give me something last year, they get over that 9.5.
You know what I do? I'll bet the under. You're getting plus money on the under. A decent size bet on the under because it's going to come down to these last 3 games. And you're going to get the Lions as underdogs in both Minnesota and at Dallas. So you can you'll have some wiggle room to start hedging out of these things. Mm-hmm. You can start betting on the Lions during those 2 games. And if they do upset and win and hit the over, at least you'll have a way to, hedge yourself a little bit there.
And we're kind of assuming they're probably going to go 3-1 in those games against the Bears and the Packers. But that division, if you look at the odds, man, those 2 teams are not very far behind as far as odds go, both sitting around plus 425, 450. If one of those teams comes out and winds up, being one of the, like the Seahawks last year, much better. We thought they were going to be a bottom 5 type team. And then come out and really played well. So if you get the Bears or the Packers to do that, man, this could wind up being a tough, wide open division. So yeah, I think the only value is to sweat the under.
Patriot 4165 wants to know what's the line for 12 wins. I'll look that up in a second, but here we have here's the division odds right here. And yeah, the Lions are the favorite to win the division, which still shocks me. I still think there's value on the Vikings plus 300 there.
Yeah,
which is it's going to come down to the last 3 weeks of the season when they play each other.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you think there's any value taking the Lions at plus 140 there?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm never going to. I don't think there's any value taking the Lions on anything under 6 or 7 to 1. That's including in the division. I just think I've seen the Lions do Lions things my whole life. So it's hard for me. It's hard for me to want to see any value in them at all. If you can't win a Super Bowl with Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson, you're not going to.
Patriot 4.65s over 11.5 wins is plus 300. You get 3-1 on your money if you want to do that.
Let's see what we got.
He says, don't fade the head coach, Will. Don't fade the head coach. I mean, Campbell's hyped up his team a lot and lost a lot of games doing so.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to be careful giving that bulletin board material, man.
Exactly. I don't know. So if you're bullish on them, and you bet them to win the division, you bet them to get 12 wins if you think they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. So we'll see. What else do we got for let's see what they are to win. Hold on, we gotta do the conference first and then Super Bowl. Detroit Lions, your fourth favorite, 11-1 to go to the Super Bowl. That is weird.
That is really weird. It just
looks to say out loud.
Is that a typo? Somebody get fired from Bet Online. That's gotta be a typo.
I think it might be.
Oh,
Chatter says he says look at their roster. It's a 10-win easy. I don't know, man. There's nothing easy in this game of football, baby. This is the NFL. And I mean, I'm one of those. You got to prove it to me first, buddy. If this was the Chiefs, I'm like, okay, we're gonna say Chiefs. I get it. This is the Lions we're talking about. On paper, I know it looks nice, but there's a lot. On paper, the Cardinals were supposed to be good last year. On paper, the Rams were supposed to be good last year. Look what happened there.
You're not.
This is the
wrong.
NFL. I've been in this game too long to know that something smells fishy here. All right. I'm not saying the Lions can't have a good season, but
yeah, there's always one of those teams that's hyped up pretty big going into the season that winds up just laying an egg. So this might be our Huckleberry this year.
Yeah, Chatter. The Cardinals stink. No one was saying the Cardinals stink last year. Last year, they were a 9.5. The over-under was 9.5, just like the Lions here. That's what I'm saying. Everyone thought the Cardinals were going back to the playoffs after making it the year before. Everyone thought the Rams were the favorite to win the division because they just won the Super Bowl. And look at that. Those two teams finished 4-3 in the division.
Because injuries happen, man. That's the thing you can't account for. And so, let's see. This is what the Cardinals wound up winning 4 games last year. So if you wanted to go under 5.5 wins for the Lions, you get plus 750.
Now that's something you can talk me into.
That intrigues me a little bit right there, just because I've seen them do it so many times.
Okay, fair enough, Cardinals. Fair enough, Match Letter. He says, I was, but I don't have receipts. Okay, if you were low on the Cardinals, I get it. Because I didn't buy hype in the Cardinals, and I hyped my big. We do over at Patriot Sports when I did a stream with them. We did bowl predictions for the season. One of my bowl predictions that I personally bet was Arizona to finish last in the division at plus 900, and it cashed. Now the Rams tried to screw that up for me. They got real close to screwing that up for me, but that was one of my nice bowl prediction winners last year.
Yeah, that is a good one, bro. That's a real good one.
Indeed. Okay, that's exact Super Bowl. Where's the there we go, Super Bowl futures. Detroit Lions 25-1 to win the Super Bowl this year. Man, what do you think, Crickett?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and put it on it if you hate money. If you're allergic to that, if you're allergic to greenbacks, man, go ahead and sprinkle that on that 25-1 for the Lions. But I don't know. I'm not sold, man. I am not sold. Like you said, not to say that they can't have a great season and make a run at this thing, whatever. They got a solid roster. They got to stay healthy. Got to get some exceptional play out of their quarterback like they did last year. But I'm not sold. I've been watching Detroit do Detroit things for way too long. Aren't they still the only team to go winless in the season? Yeah, still don't want to do that.
Yeah. They almost did it twice, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Here's your boy Jahmyr Gibbs, Offensive Rookie of the Year. 9-1 on your money. The favorite, of course, is Bijan Robinson.
This seems like a good time. That is my prop for the Detroit Lions that I'm going with. Jahmyr Gibbs to win Offensive Rookie of the Year at plus 900.
I don't see. How the hell do you not have value here on the quarterbacks? I think there's a ton of value. I understand why Bijan is the favorite, but man, one quarterback, one of these guys throws for like 4,000 yards and has
but how many rookie quarterbacks do you see do that? There's always the learning curve coming in the NFL, the speed of the game and stuff, and not to mention these top quarterbacks are on pretty shitty teams, so it's kind of hard to come out and just light the world on
not
fire.
like Bijan's on a good team.
Yeah, but it's a different I mean, he's going to get the touches, and he's got to stay healthy too, man. He's going to get a lot
That's
of
what I'm
volume.
saying. I mean,
but a quarterback, a little different for a running back. A running back on a shitty team, as long as he has a decent offensive line, which he's got a halfway decent offensive line in Atlanta. But as long as he's going to get the volume there. Quarterback, it's just a different set of circumstances there, especially on the. I mean, I don't know. I see why Bijan is favored.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like CJ Stroud here at 9-1.
Oh, that's a good one too. No, that's a good one too.
You're gonna give me 9-1? I mean, Stroud has just has to have a promising season with the. He's gonna obviously be the starter. I mean, if he puts up some numbers.
I don't know. If, even a lot of these younger quarterbacks too, offensive coordinators things are going to be a little more careful with them. They don't want to, just unleash them to throw the ball all over the field. So sometimes it might be more game management type stuff in spots. And Bijan, they're just going to let him try to get off to the races every game.
No, come on. In Houston, they want to be exciting down there, man. They're going to try everything they can.
Not exciting. There ain't nothing exciting about the Texans. They've never been nothing exciting about the Texans.
Damian Pierce, right there.
Yeah, 1-2 action with them. Yeah, they're solid, man. But I just
new head coach.
I don't see
it. Be defensive minded.
Stroud has who they got playing receiver, man? Who can he throw? I
can't wait to clip this out at the end of the season.
Who's he gonna throw it to?
Anyone, just huck it up there. Let's go.
Run a promo, man. Get a fan out of the stands.
Yeah, he'll run it himself, man.
Well, I mean, they got rid of their best receiver last year, and Brandon Cooks.
It's okay. It's all right. Now I've got someone new that's going to come in and make a name for themselves.
I guess you can make a name for yourself in more than one way.
That's true.
So I don't know. The quarterback, I'm always have a tough time going with one of those quarterbacks early on, just because, like I said, the learning curve is so big, and the teams are usually so bad.
I might just bet this to have it in my pocket so we could talk about it all season. Watch the CJ Stroud era in Houston.
That's fair. I promise you, I will be paying attention now.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about with these Lions?
I don't think. Let's look at the odds to make the playoffs for them. Let's see what that is.
Let's do that.
I got on DraftKings. I've got yes to make the playoffs -165, no +140. Only value I see there is going with the no. +140, get that plus money and take it. I'm not going to lay -165 on a team in a division that is
70 on here. Ooh.
Yeah. See, I like that better. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to. This division is expected to be pretty close. I'm not going to bet on a team to make the playoffs in a division like that. It can be so wide open and we're so unsure about. So I think the only value there is taking the plus money at no.
Patriot 4165 says Aikman went winless in his first season. All right.
See?
All right.
Part of it.
We'll see, man. We'll